It might not come as a surprise to anyone in this room that I absolutely love my job at St. Richard's. It provides me with the opportunity to really get to know your children and to learn what drives them. I hear about the good times and the bad times, and I get to relish in their excited moments. They in turn share an interest in many of the daily things that happen in my life and have quickly become a part of my family. I love that they come back and visit as alumni and continue to bless us with their life experiences. Tulani was one of the first smiling faces that I ever experienced at St. Richard's, and when he visits, it always brings a smile to my face. We've had an opportunity over the years to develop a relationship, and we share a lot of things in common. One of the things that always pulls me into conversation with him is his big heart and his passion for helping others. That is one thing that I'm extremely passionate about. I share with the students regularly about my drive for international missions work and my desire and our process to adopt internationally. I went on my first international mission trip to Zimbabwe when I was in middle school, and I caught the travel bug. I spent spring breaks in the Appalachian Mountains doing service work, and spent high school and college summer breaks traveling to places to help people that would capture my heart. I've always encouraged our students to embrace the opportunity if it ever arrives to them. So when Tulani came back from his trip to South Africa, he popped into my office, and I mean, they had just landed. And he was probably jet-lagged and extremely trying to process everything that had happened and emotional and tired. And he just sat in my office with the biggest smile on his face, beaming from ear to ear, telling me about his experience. And my heart just swelled because I saw in him that light and that desire to help others that took me straight back to working in the orphanages and the squatters' villages when I had the opportunity to travel to South Africa. And so I hope that you listen with the utmost attention as he shares his experiences with you, because it took somebody his age sharing that experience with me to get me into the travel bug and the want and desire to help others. So I am privileged to announce our alumni, Tulani Smith, to the podium.
All right, well, thank you very much for having me this morning. This is my first ever honors breakfast. It may come as a surprise to most of you, but I never knew that a breakfast was happening when I was in the cafeteria, so. Well, it brings me great joy to be here, and given that it's December the 5th, I brought with me five things that I remember most about St. Richard's, and that I miss as well. Number one, being the most shocking, would have to be the uniform. I go to a school that's only 8 years old, so the people who created the uniform there weren't too interesting, and it's just, to me, being able to dress up every morning at St. Richard's and be in a form of readiness to be able to work, just wearing the tie and the belt and the shoes, just brought me a sense of gratitude and just readiness in order to get things done. Number two would have to be tradition. As I said, my school's only 8 years old, so anything big that I do will be considered a tradition that will go on for as many years as the school may come. Number three would have to be the close-knit community. You really feel like you're a part of something here. That doesn't always happen in high school. Number four would have to be the Apple Pen Awards. I remember in first grade receiving an apple pen for, I think it was listing the fruits of the Spirit, and I just wish that I was able to receive awards for my good merits in high school as well. And number five would have to be the school lunch. Don't complain, students, please. Where I'm at, the lunch doesn't compare to what you guys have here. So as you can tell, I really do miss St. Richard's. And as I remember my time here, I also remember a few faculty and staff members. I remember Miss Reed for being my first ever teacher here. I remember Mr. Sherrill for being my favorite coach ever, and always letting me help during the basketball games. I remember Miss Sofka for helping me whenever I didn't feel well. It was always the first smile I saw going through the front doors. And I also remember Miss Lausch for helping me with tests. And finally, this might seem cheesy, but I also miss going to school with my dad. So why am I actually here today? Well, as I remember coming to St. Richard's, there were 5 pillars And the one that I connect most to would have to be the global readiness. I'm very fortunate to be a very young traveler. I've been to about 27 countries in my age. And by the time I was about 2, I'd been about 14. Granted, I don't remember all of those experiences, I just know that it's written down to me. I see travel as both a privilege and a necessity. Furthermore, travel should be necessary and not only desirable. My favorite place is South Africa, but I believe that everyone should have a favorite place away from home. It brings about the idea that the world is your oyster and you ought to find a place other than where you were born to connect to in order to experience this world that we have. I've been to South Africa 4 times over the course of my life, in which the last 2 times I went for 5 weeks with my dad. And when my dad was there, we talked to several schools, and I engaged in great conversation with some of the students, talking about my life here and their life there, and some of the struggles that they go through doing it on a daily basis. When I was there, my dad and I, we looked around and we saw that there were a few initiatives that were going on that were currently needing help and citing. So we saw two abandoned baby homes that I really connected with. They were baby homes for children who were looking for adoption who were left by their parents. I connected very closely with that based on the fact that I was adopted. I'm not saying that I was given up, I'm just saying that I connect really well with the same topic that these children are going through. So, in order to fix this spring I'm going to work with the baby homes for 2 weeks. Typical of my dad, he said that I must go alone, but with friends of course. But the shocking thing is, he said there should be no adults. Now that might come as a surprise to you, depending on if you know or don't know my dad. It might not come as a surprise to you though. When my dad expressed this idea to me, I thought very carefully. And though I was very nervous about it at first, I'm going to go anyways, no matter what anybody says to me. It is a school that taught me confidence. And I believe that with confidence, I'll be able to get to South Africa and back without any travel issues. So, this is my short honor speech at the honors breakfast, and I'm very glad that SRS has made me aware of the world that I live in and aware of being confident in where I stand. One of the great aphorisms that I've learned in English class was that I want to inspire others to aspire to great things before both you and I expire. So students, please don't wish these days to go over too quickly. They're one of the best days of your life, and one of the things that I always think about is that time is always moving forward. You can remember things that happen now, but they're not redoable, if that makes any sense. So, I like to say this is a very special place, and you guys are doing very special things currently. For the record, I like to say that I've been on the honor roll at my school every single term since I've been there. So I have been to an honors breakfast somewhere. So I'd like to thank you all very much. The reason I'm not in school today, currently, is because on Fridays my school starts at 10 o'clock. It's one of the perks to going to a charter school. So I'll stick around for a bit longer, and if there are any questions, I'm able to take 2 of them currently. Seriously. Alright, well thank you very much for having me, and enjoy your honors breakfast. Thank you.